Today we will discuss which energy source or pathway is important for specific exercise. Like which energy source will provide energy during weightlifting, during powerlifting, during endurance exercise, or for sprinters. Let's discuss about ATP first. What is ATP? ATP is stand for adenosine triphosphate. It's the energy currency of cell. ATP sensitizes energy. ATP provides energy by splitting its phosphate group and is converted to ADP. But the issue is ATP is present in our body in a very small amount. It provides energy only for few seconds. It provides energy only for 1 to 2 seconds. And to continue the process of energy provision during exercise, ATP must be resynthesized. ADP should be converted back to ATP. And to convert ADP back to ATP, there are different energy sources that convert ADP back to ATP. Those energy sources are phosphocreatine, glycogen, glucose, blood glucose, and fat. These energy sources resynthesize ATP. All these energy sources have different speed and capacity. So let's discuss about these energy sources in detail. Phosphocreatine. Phosphocreatine is present in the skeletal muscle. It resynthesizes ATP at very high speed. It quickly resynthesizes ATP and it quickly provides energy during the exercise. But it has low capacity. Its capacity is low, but its speed to synthesize ATP, to resynthesize ATP is very high. Low capacity means it provides energy only for a few seconds. It provides energy for up to 30 seconds. So the exercise that we do up for 30 seconds, during that exercise, phosphocreatine will be the dominant source of energy. So the phosphocreatine speed of sensitizing ATP is very high, but its capacity is low. It provides energy for up to 30 seconds. Another energy source, that is glycogen. Glycogen present in liver and is also stored in muscles. So muscle glycogen is only provide energy to the muscle tissues. Muscle glycogen does not provide energy to other body tissues. It's only utilized by our body muscles. While the other glycogen that's present in liver, that is stored in liver, that provides energy to the other body tissues too. So the glycogen that's present in liver is first converted to glucose, and then through blood circulation, glucose then transported to the other body tissues, where it is used as energy source. Let's discuss about muscle glycogen. Glycogen gives energy through both aerobic and anaerobic glycolysis pathway. So anaerobic glycolysis is that it provides energy in the absence of oxygen, and aerobic glycolysis means that breakdown of glycogen in the presence of oxygen. So let's discuss about muscle glycogen and anaerobic pathway. So suppose it's a muscle cell and aerobic glycolysis. In the glycolysis, glucose is converted to pyruvate, and during this process ATP is synthesized. But due to absence of oxygen, pyruvate is converted to the lactic acid or lactate. This lactic acid production can hinder the muscle performance, can slow the muscle contraction process, and can affect the performance during the exercise. So the anaerobic glycolysis process provides energy quickly. It provides energy similar to phosphocreatine. It also provides energy at a high speed, but its speed of energy ATP synthesis is slow than the phosphocreatine. So phosphocreatine has a highest speed, and anaerobic glycolysis process also has a high speed, but its speed is lower than the phosphocreatine pathway. But energy synthesis, its capacity is low. It synthesizes energy at high speed. Phosphocreatine synthesizes energy at high speed. Its capacity is low. Anaerobic glycolysis pathway synthesizes energy at high speed but lower than the phosphocreatine, but its capacity is higher than the phosphocreatine pathway. It provides energy for up to 2 minutes. It can provide energy for up to 2 minutes. So exercise that we perform up to 2 minutes, anaerobic glycolysis pathway is the dominant source, will be the dominant source of energy during anaerobic glycolysis, during that exercise. Then there is aerobic glycolysis also. So in the aerobic glycolysis, other pathways, that is the aerobic glycolysis. In the aerobic glycolysis, glucose is converted to pyruvate and ATP is synthesized. The ATP, and here pyruvate, instead of converted to lactic acid, it is converted to acetyl CoA. So that's the difference. In anaerobic glycolysis, pyruvate is converted to lactic acid. But in aerobic glycolysis, in the presence of oxygen, pyruvate is converted to acetyl CoA, and then acetyl CoA enter to TCA cycle. It entered to TCA cycle, and the compounds that are synthesized through TCA cycle, those compounds through oxidative phosphorylation, they synthesize energy, ATP. ATP energy that is synthesized through aerobic glycolysis pathway is 10 times higher than the anaerobic glycolysis pathway. But speed is low. Its speed is low than the anaerobic glycolysis pathway, but its capacity is very high. It can provide energy up to 90 minutes. It can provide energy for up to 90 minutes. So the exercise that we perform up to 90 minutes, so the exercise that we do for 2 to 3 minutes and longer, that exercise, aerobic glycolysis, will be the dominant source of energy. So the last energy source is fat. Fat only provides energy in the presence of oxygen. It provides energy aerobically only. So the fat is stored in adipose tissue in the form of triglycerides, and it's also stored in muscles too, but it's stored in very small amount in muscles. Fat, firstly, is released from adipose tissue in the form of fatty acids. Fat is released from adipose tissues. Suppose it's adipose tissue. It's released from adipose tissue in the form of fatty acids. And the fatty acids breakdown occur in the mitochondria through beta oxidation process. So through beta oxidation process, fatty esters breakdown occurs and it's converted to acetyl CoA. Then same process occurs as in the presence of aerobic glycolysis. Acetyl CoA enter to TCA cycle and the compounds that are synthesized through TCA cycle through oxidative phosphorylation, those compounds generate ATP. ATP synthesis, total energy synthesis through fat is higher than the aerobic glycolysis pathway. Is higher than the energy that is generated through aerobic glycolysis pathway. But its speed is lower than the aerobic glycolysis pathway and its capacity is very high. It can provide energy for hours and for hours and hours during exercise. So its capacity is high. Its capacity is highest than all other energy pathways. It can provide energy for hours and hours and even for days. So let's have a recap. ATP is energy currency of cell. But our body has limited stores of ATP that provide energy only for 1 to 2 seconds. So ATP must be resynthesized. ATP must be converted back to ATP to continue the process of energy provision during exercise. Other energy sources then resynthesize ATP. Those energy sources are phosphocreatine. Phosphocreatine is present in skeletal muscle. It quickly provides energy. It provides energy at very high speed, but its capacity is low. It provides energy only for 30 seconds. Another pathway, energy pathway, that is anaerobic glycolysis. In the muscle, glycogen that is stored in the muscle through anaerobic glycolysis, glucose initially converted into the pyruvate and synthesize ATP, and due to absence of oxygen, pyruvate is converted to lactic acid, and this lactic acid production has a drawback. It hinders the muscle contraction pathway. So it will limit the exercise performance. And this pathway provides energy for 2 minutes. Its speed of energy synthesis is high, but lower than the phosphocreatine pathway. And its capacity is for 2 minutes. It can provide energy for 2 minutes. That is higher than the phosphocreatine that can provide energy for only 30 seconds. Then there is the aerobic glycolysis pathway. In the aerobic glycolysis energy synthesis, the aerobic glycolysis pathway provides energy 10 times more than the anaerobic glycolysis pathway. And its capacity is very high. Its speed is low. Its speed is lower than the anaerobic glycolysis pathway, but its capacity is very high. It can provide energy for up to 90 minutes. And the last one, fat. Fat provides energy in the presence of oxygen, but it provides more energy. Its speed is lower than the aerobic glycolysis pathway, but can provide energy for even hours and hours. So, I hope now you can easily understand that which energy pathway is important during any specific exercise. Now you will tell me that from these energy pathways that are phosphocreatine pathway, anaerobic glycolysis pathway, and other is aerobic breakdown, aerobic glycolysis and fat breakdown pathway. Both these pathways occur in the presence of oxygen. And you will tell me from these 3 pathways, which pathway will be the dominant source of energy during powerlifting? From these pathways, which pathway will be the dominant source of energy during powerlifting? From these sources, which pathway is important during endurance exercise, endurance exercise, and which pathway is important for sprinter. So you can answer it in the comment section, and if you have any question, you can also ask me in the comment section. I would love to answer your queries. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.